Why should I hire you for the job as my husband?
I already used it, I put a ring on it, so I can't use that again. That's why I put a ring on it. Alright, let's go.
No, come back this. He gotta come back this time.
Got nothing.
You ain't as slick as you think he is.
Yeah, slick, no, I'm out.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today, I have my fiance.
You're welcome.
My fiance.
You're welcome.
Today we're filming a video on wedding planning in 2021. Tips and advice. A little bit about us if you don't know already. We got engaged on Thanksgiving Day 2020. And it's been, what, about 5 to 6 months of wedding planning so far. And we're getting married in June.
Yeah.
So we've had like a sort of a quick turnaround time. And especially with the COVID-19 pandemic, things have been kind of like...
more restrictions and
yeah,
stuff you gotta kind of think about or plan for.
Right.
You don't normally have to worry about, you know?
Exactly. So we wanted to just make a video about the things that we've learned along the way and offer some quick tips and advice for anyone who's maybe engaged or seriously dating and want some advice that they can use on their own journey. I don't remember watching any like wedding videos before, you know, planning my wedding, and thankfully one of my friends got me a planner that I've been using along the way, and of course other women who've gotten married before, like they've been helping me along the way as well. So it's definitely very important to like have that advice and those resources. So we wanted to make this video. So number one, when it comes to planning your wedding, and of course that you want this wedding to be your dream wedding, like you, God willing, you're only getting married one time. So you want this to be a day to remember.
Exactly.
The number one thing that we did first was made a vision board of exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
And actually, I had Zach do it because, of course, busyness.
Yeah,
but
she basically explained what she wanted.
yeah.
And I went on like Google and Pinterest and different places and just found pictures of like what I thought she was talking about.
Yeah.
And put a bunch of different pictures on a board, and I just called it like a vibe board. So
yeah, a mood board.
Mood board, yeah, so that she could kind of like pinpoint how she wanted the vibe to be, the feel of the whole day.
Yeah.
And once we did that and established our vibe, which was like modern,
like heaven on earth.
Heaven on earth, yeah.
Yeah.
And once we established that, we kind of began to go in more detail.
Right. And the vision board will not only help you and your fiance, but it'll also help when it comes to like showing that to the decorator or showing that to vendors or...
Yeah, everybody asks for it.
Right,
like,
they ask for that,
like,
okay.
Yeah, well, what's your vision? Yeah.
Right. So it's good to have pictures like saved. You can use Pinterest, you can use like Instagram. I know on Instagram you can make folders. I use folders as well on Instagram and just save things that I see along the way and things of that sort, which has been super helpful because people like to see. You know, if you want something to be exactly like this, then it's good to show and not assume that they're gonna know what you're talking about.
Right.
So make a vision board. And then with your fiance, talk about the budget. Because one thing you don't want to do is go into debt for a wedding. Because after the wedding's over, it's going to be you and your spouse, and you guys are now married and now have to walk, like you're walking and doing life together. And you don't want that burden of, oh my gosh, like we have to pay off this venue and we have to pay off this, honeymoon. And it's kind of like causing friction in your marriage, like right off the bat. So we decided that we did not want to go into that for our wedding, and we were going to pay cash for everything. And so we made a budget. Did we stick to the budget?
We really tried. We have pretty well. I would say so. The hardest thing has been Gabby accepting the no's, like because there's been some things that she just want to do like over the top, and I'm all for it, but I'm also not about like putting ourselves in debt just for a one-day experience, you know?
Right, but honestly, like I've never been about debt, but you were the one who's like, oh, I gotta take out a loan or something. I'm like, no, like there's no way we're taking out a loan.
But that's a different thing. I was so stressed out at the point where I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm looking at 40 grand for this mug.
Yeah.
And I was basically just talking, just saying, like, I'm going to have to get a loan. I got to go sell a kidney or something to get this money. Cause
right. And so it kind of feels like that. We didn't know how much of what it costs. Like, we looking at the price of flowers, and we're like, what? Flowers cost this much? I could go up to my garden and pick some flowers out. We were really surprised at how much a wedding cost.
Yeah.
We didn't expect it. And so in the beginning, it was very like, okay, yeah, how are we going to pay for this, Lord?
Yeah.
You're going to have to make a way. And of course, those thoughts are like, okay, like, what's a quick way out? You know, I could get a loan, or I could use my credit card. But we had to stick to the budget. What we said about not wanting to go into debt. And so now that you have that foundation with your fiance, moving forward, you know, okay, if it doesn't align or if it does not fit into the budget, then we just can't do it.
Also, another thing that we've also done was to, if there are some things that you just really want, or you have like your mindset, like this is what I want to do, put a pin on that for a second, and then look at other areas where you can kind of compromise and adjust. Like, say maybe you don't need as many flowers and save $400.
Right.
And save money other places so that you can afford like the one thing that you really do want to have at your wedding.
That's good. Can you give me my book real quick? So I have this book. It's called The Budget Savvy Wedding Planner and Organizer by Jessica Bishop. One of my bridesmaids got it for me. And I really like how she does her budget, like her budget system in this book, where it kind of like forces you to think about what are some things that I absolutely want and what are some things that are just that I can do without. So it's like prioritizing. I really want Haitian food at my wedding. At one point, I was about to compromise because of how much the food costs, but even though we have to pay this much money, I want Haitian food at the wedding, so we decided, okay, like, that's fine. Like, we're going to pay that much, but again, compromising in other areas so that we can stick to a certain budget. Budget and plan with your fiance, and then also definitely be willing, and honestly, it's a necessity to negotiate.
Oh, yeah. Always negotiate.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Don't ever just accept the first price that someone gives you. And don't think that that's like cheap or that's like rude to ask somebody.
Right.
Typically, with any wedding they will always throw up an additional charge. I asked this certain venue, I won't mention, about using their space, and asked them, you know, prices, if I can get a price breakdown. But they wouldn't give me the price breakdown until I mentioned or until I told them what we were going to be using the space for. And I thought that was strange. So I told them, I was like, well, we're going to be using it for a reception. And automatically I get this price that was like crazy, that I thought was high. Then I asked them, well, what if I was going to be doing it for this type of event, like a birthday celebration? Well, they gave me a completely different quote. And that's when I realized, like, these people are just like upcharging people just because it's a wedding. Yeah. And come to find out, like, you'll notice that with catering, you'll notice it with flowers. So don't ever hesitate. If someone gives you the first price offhand, don't hesitate to always ask, like, well, can you do anything better for me? Right. Can you give me any kind of discount for this? And 9 times out of 10, they are going to bring that price down. Like, I would be very shocked if they did not bring the price down. Or accommodate. Or accommodate, exactly, somehow. And honestly, if they're not trying to accommodate you, then that should be like a flag. Like, okay, like, do I really want to work with this vendor? If they're not willing to, you know, compromise in some way. Because it is a business relationship. They're benefiting as much as you are from this. Negotiate, because it is a wedding and they're going to take advantage of that. And also, in this day and age, you can do more with little, or you can do more with less. So one thing that we have been using and doing is outsourcing. Think about, who do you know that can do this? So if you need a wedding planner or a day of coordinator, who do you know in your circle of friends or family that can do this thing? Right. Now, one thing that I would be mindful of is, even though you are using friends and family, like, always have that contract or something that's like written so that they don't just take advantage of you. It's your wedding, so you want it to be as professional as possible. So still have contracts, still like be very professional about it, but don't be afraid to reach out to friends or family who maybe takes photos or cooks or bakes or something, because that's, you know, a quick way to save money. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Another thing that we outsourced was our engagement photos. Like, our friend takes pictures, so got to really like
she rented a camera and it took some very like high quality photos of us, and we have a bunch of them. And so we use it for our wedding website, we use it for our wedding invites, we use it for social media, things like that. So I definitely recommend engagement photos, and you can always outsource that. You don't have to spend so much money on those photos. Yeah. And if you don't really know anybody in your immediate circle who does anything wedding related, you can always ask maybe people who've already gotten married or who've gotten married recently. You can join Facebook groups. You can find Instagram pages like Brides on a Budget, Brides of, like, for example, Brides of 2021. You can ask who do like other people know. So always, it's like networking, like always just reach out, because you never know who may be able to do something like on a cheaper or more inexpensive like way. Right. Do you want to hire a wedding planner, a day of coordinator, or both? Right. And so Zach and I decided to hire a wedding planner who's also our day of coordinator.
Yeah, and we thought that in the beginning that we could do that.
Right. At first we were like, we're not gonna hire a wedding planner.
Mistake.
We just need a day of coordinator.
Yeah.
And typically, like, yeah, I can plan an event or whatever.
Right, yeah.
But this year, I mean, I'm teaching full time. Like, I had so much going on. Zach had a lot going on. So we really needed somebody to come in and help us.
Yeah,
like, who knows the game, like, who already has connections and can do those things for us, like reach out to vendors and help us plan. Speak to your fiance, like what works best for you. Maybe you do have the time to plan the wedding and that's something that you actually like and want to do. Or maybe you don't have as much time and you need the wedding planner. Like, just do whatever works for you. Honestly, that's what worked for us, and we're glad we did it.
And if you don't have like the finances to incorporate like a wedding planner, that's okay too.
Right.
But I would recommend, if you can afford and get at least a day of coordinator, I think that would really help and benefit, so that you can truly like enjoy that day or that process.
It's honestly necessary to have a day of coordinator, because on a day of, you don't want to have to be stressing about anything. Like, you don't want people calling you. You don't want to have to worry about it. So you need someone who's going to coordinate on the day of your wedding. Like, what time vendors are going to come. Right. Like, who's supposed to be where at what time. Like, have you eaten yet? Like, are you taken care of? Because people are going to have questions on the day of your wedding. Like, oh, where do I park? Or where do I go? What's the address? Even though everything is already in the invite, they may still have questions. And so your day of coordinator is that go-to person that people know. Leave the bride alone. Leave the groom alone. Like, I'm the person that you're supposed to be contacting today.
In the beginning, it was my job to kind of set up and create the website for our wedding. And I read a lot of different reviews about certain websites, and I created, what was the first one?
Zola?
Zola?
Yeah.
I think so. Zola, I signed up and tried creating the website. I did, and then started working on the registry. I created a different one as well too, and then I created one on the knot, and kind of between the three, like, kind of wanted to figure out which one was best, because there's a lot of different reviews and people say certain things about it, but in my opinion, I found that the knot was the best, because well, the gifts on the knot were the outsourcing that you could do on the knot was a lot greater. Yeah. You could go and add a lot of different stores, from Amazon to just your local Target or something. And I noticed that it was a lot easier to keep everything on that website on the knot as opposed to other places. And it was user friendly. You could just pick out your theme, your layout, upload pictures, upload your bridal party, put in travel accommodations, how you met, your story. We've
gotten a lot of compliments on our website from like the guests who visited. It's very user friendly, like everything is there.
Oh yeah, you upload all your guest lists.
Right, that's
phone
the
numbers,
best part for
addresses,
me.
And if you wanted to go through the website and send or purchase, like, what is it called? The invitations, you can do it on the website as well, and
they also have a list of like vendors. So if you're looking for a DJ, a photographer, videographer, you can find them on the Knot as well.
Yeah, everything is kind of kept right there on the whole website.
I love the wedding website. I had all my guests RSVP online. The registry is online.
And it notifies you on your phone.
It notifies you when they RSVP.
Yeah.
Accommodations are online. Directions are online. It's honestly super easy. They have an app you download, and you can manage everything from your phone. So it's like on the go with you. So definitely highly recommend using and having a wedding website. Oh, another thing too that they have is like a timeline. So it kind of like gives you a checklist of things that you should be doing. Like, for example, 6 months before the wedding, you should be doing this, like have a venue or start researching DJs. And then 3 months before the wedding, like buy the wedding band, go to a cake tasting, getting a makeup trial, things like that. So you kind of know, oh yeah, I still need to do this thing, so let me write that down, you know?
Yeah.
And that's also a very good resource to use if you decide not to hire a wedding planner. You can just use a timeline that they have, and that'll kind of like be your go-to. Like, okay, I need to do this, 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 and you can do it on your own.
Yeah.
And still get a lot done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. DIY. Do it yourself. We have some boxes that we're using for our ceremony and reception. Flower boxes, he's building those.
Yeah.
So do it yourself.
Anything that you can do to save yourself money.
Yes.
And not have to just go out there and spend. Be as frugal as possible.
Right.
You know, ask people that you know that are like savvy in building things or putting things together. Flower boxes to, you know, making a video slideshow for your thing, or putting together music, whatever it is. Like,
whatever.
Ask people to help put things together so that you're not having to just pay a whole nother vendor to do certain things. Yeah. Exactly.
Don't be a cheapsake for your wedding, but also if you can do it yourself, then do it yourself.
Yeah.
And it still looks good, you can do it.
One of the things that we're doing for the wedding is the hand sanitizer. Being that it's, you know, the whole pandemic right now with COVID, we're basically just purchasing 150 of the bottles. And I think 100 bottles, like small, like travel size bottles, is like $30 to $40 for 100 bottles. And so we'll purchase like 150 of them for the whole reception. And then you can purchase like the big containers of hand sanitizer at like Sam's Club or Walmart, wherever you need it, and basically just fill them up and order or print your labels from, you know, Staples or Kinko's or, you know, wherever you need to print them, your local print shop, and just put the stickers on the bottles with your names, the date, you know, everything.
Yep.
And make it look professional.
Right.
And fairly cheap.
Save money like that. Exactly.
Definitely.
Our last tip and piece of advice, but honestly one of the most important, is to enjoy the journey of wedding planning. Enjoy the engagement. Do not get lost in the planning that you forget why you and your fiance got together in the first place.
Absolutely.
And, you know, what God is doing in this season between you two, because this is such a precious moment where you're not dating anymore and you're still not married.
Yeah.
But it's like an incubation phase where God is still working, and he's working more intentionally now that you're about to be married. So you want to be very intentional about that season when you're together with your fiance.
And it can be, I would say, the whole process, you want to enjoy it, but to be honest and transparent, it can be a very stressful time. It really can be. Like, even just a few weeks ago, she and I were really
just overwhelmed, feeling anxious, because we were dealing with
a lot of confusion with vendors,
and
attitudes and everything.
Exactly.
And it just got to the point where it was like, God, like, you got to have to pull through.
Right.
These people are trying to charge fees when they shouldn't be.
Right.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
And
and you don't need that. You don't need that going into your wedding. You need to enjoy the process. So, you know, if you go through the order, like plan and prepare, put those things in order.
Yeah.
You know, follow your budget, do what you can, and cut out things you can't.
Yeah.
But follow those things, and then for the rest of it, like, you got to really pray. Like, give it to God about it and trust Him that He's going to pull through on it. Because this is a process. It really is like almost like a growing process that you're growing together. You don't need it to be just a stressful time that every time you come together with your fiance, you're arguing or fighting about
the wedding.
The wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you know, stick to it as much as you can, but like spend time praying about it. That God, you know, we are trusting that you're gonna have to pull through with these people because you know they can't run on time, or you know, I can't deal with this person's attitude any longer. You know, whatever it is.
That could be with vendors. It could also be with family too, like family drama. Whatever the case is. Thankfully, we haven't really had family issues. I'm so glad. But remember, it is your wedding.
Yeah.
You do what you want to do, because at the end of the day, like, this is for you. And it's a privilege that people get to be invited in the first place to your wedding. So don't be so caught up in like, oh, I want to please this group of people and this group of people. No, you can't please everybody. And so honestly, just do what makes you and your fiance happy. Do you? They'll get over it. Enjoy the journey. Like, don't talk about the wedding all the time with your fiance. Like, remember why you guys, you know, got together in the first place.
I'm gonna add one more tip too. I don't know if this would be a step or anything, but organization, like when it comes to like keeping everything organized. Believe it or not, typically I'm not like an organized person. Believe it or not.
He's been very hands-on with the wedding planning, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But like saving like every little detail. So like I've kept even venues and stuff that we didn't go with. I still have their stuff. I don't know why, but I just, whenever I'd get something, I'd put it away or file it away. And then as far as like our budget breakdown, like I would basically just kind of color code it and break it down, like caterer, venue, like decor, you know, pictures, DJ coordinator, all this stuff, like and we put down like our payments schedule, like write every little thing down that we've paid. That way you don't have confusion with people saying, well, I never got this payment. Keep those contracts, those receipts, absolutely everything. Read the contracts too. Twice. Well, I haven't said this to you, but I can't wait till like 20 years down the road, you know, that we can actually like go back and like look at it, like, man, like, you remember this? Or, like, when we went to go visit this venue and how much trouble it was. Lord. Or, I mean, like, and just laugh about those times. So that's how you can enjoy the process too. That's all. I feel like I've been learning so much, like, through this whole process of wedding planning. If you guys have any questions, just put them in a comment section. Like, if you are planning a wedding, if you can relate planning a wedding in 2021, like, please comment down below. I'm so excited to get married. Literally, today makes 2 months exactly until we get married. Until we say I do. Crazy. So, I'm glad. Anyways, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and also leave a comment down below. You can also visit our description box to see how you can stay connected with us, Zach, and our couple's channel, our Instagram, and all of that good stuff. But we're so glad that you stayed until the end. Pray for us, because, you know, we need it, y'all. We still wedding planning. It's ongoing. We love you guys, and we're so grateful for you guys as well. Have a good day, and until next time, bye.